He's not odd. He's not, a little bit different, No. This bloke is a nutter. Yeah, but homeless people are quite annoying. What? What? I love it when you do that. This family is full of lunatics. She's being sneaky. Something's going down. And it just goes to show, there's someone out there for everyone. Hello everyone and welcome back to part 3 of my book review for The Dinner by Herman Koch. I can't say this guy's name without feeling pretentious. This is a spoiler review, so if you haven't already read the book, then this probably won't be the best book review for you, unless you don't intend to read the book, in which case, hello weirdo who watches book reviews of books that they don't intend to read, and welcome. So in the last few chapters that we read in the previous review, and if you haven't already watched part 2 of the review, then you can click up here and see it. But in the last review, we found out a bit more about the crime that had been committed and the dark shadow that has been looming over the Lohman family. Their sons have committed a disgusting act of assault and murder or manslaughter, possibly, on a homeless woman who was just sleeping in an ATM kiosk. And to make things even more complicated, their adopted son is blackmailing the other two for enough money to buy a scooter, and he has footage of their crime on his phone. So I'm going to get started on chapter 29 now, and I'm going to read through all the way till the end, and we're going to find out the exciting conclusion of The Dinner by Herman Koch. By the way, if you're Dutch and you're offended by the way that I'm saying that name, don't worry. I hate myself more than you ever could. Let's get back to it, yeah? Yeah? So in the first couple of chapters, we relive Paul's time as a high school teacher. And I don't know if maybe I missed it, but I don't think we were aware that he used to be a teacher, were we? I don't know. Maybe I missed that part. Anyway, he seems to be a teacher that is genuinely engaging, also a little unorthodox. He questions whether all the people who died in World War II were worthy of life, and would we want them back now if we could just click our fingers and bring them back. It's inappropriate. Then we find out that he treated a particular student very, very poorly. And the principal brings him in to have a little conversation with him. Paul imagines during this conversation beating him, breaking his nose, breaking his teeth, beating him to death. And look, Paul is fully mental, ain't he? He's fully, he's not odd. He's not, a little bit different, No, this bloke is a nutter. He's always quick to imagine violence as the first response. I don't know if he is physically violent, but in his head, he has a lot of fantasies about hurting people or other people hurting people, abusing them. And these are fantasies as well. They're not just, just imagining something. He takes a lot of enjoyment in this. He's not normal. He is deranged. And also, it seems to be people that don't deserve hatred, this principal is being pretty reasonable, pretty open-minded, honestly. When he was speaking to that woman in France a few chapters back, she seemed fine, and he's imagining drunken Frenchmen dragging her into the barn. He's American Psycho level. So yes, actually, we do find out that he is he does have a mental illness. A psychologist tells him that he has this mental illness. It's a little bit vague. It's not given a name, but it's hereditary. And it's so serious that actually in a lot of cases, if the parents find out that their child has a chance of having this psychosis, it very often results in an abortion. Paul was given medication for it, and soon after, his wife Claire becomes deathly ill. And Paul is he gets a taste of being a single father and what life would be like as a widower. This part was actually pretty hard to read, because you can't help but feel so deeply for people whose loved ones are on death's door. Serge and Babette come to visit him, and see how he's doing and everything. And yeah, look, they're being nosy, they're being intrusive, they're being judgmental. It's frustrating. He's going through it as well. His wife's in hospital, so yeah, of course, I can imagine someone breaking under that kind of pressure. But the way that he does it, he gets so worked up that he smashes. He smashes a boiling hot saucepan across Serge's face with his little boy watching. And again, he's seeing his dad be violent. Again, seeing violence as a solution. Again. And it's such a twist, because for the first third of the book, I saw I saw Paul as a kind of Larry David type, from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Grouchy, maybe a bit cynical. Nah, man, that's not who this bloke is. I'm surprised that Serge and Babette have agreed to go to dinner with him after what he's done, after something like that. So from that point on, the tension is broken. Babette starts crying. Serge tries to calm her down. Paul calls the restaurant manager a pervert. Claire literally starts screaming murder. They're all talking openly about what's happened. And I couldn't help but think, if this was happening, wouldn't you leave? Or why would you even come? Why would you discuss this in a public space? If I was going to have a conversation about a murder that my son had committed, I probably wouldn't do it in public. I'd probably cook a curry and have people come over to my house. And then we could just, shut the doors, and then we can talk about how our son's murdered a homeless person, Why go to a restaurant? And also, it makes me think this was Serge's idea, right? He picked this restaurant. He seems to want people to kind of know about it, And and then Claire, she's full on justification mode. She doesn't want to call it murder. She doesn't even want to call it manslaughter. She wants to call it an incident. But let's not call it murder. Let's not call it manslaughter. It's just an incident. And she justifies it by saying, yeah, but homeless people are quite annoying. What? The biggest twist out of all of this, honestly, is that I didn't think that I would be siding with Serge and Babette in this. That was really unexpected. Serge really does seem to be a decent man, and I'm thinking, he knows the restaurant owners. He picked the restaurant. Is he got some sneaky plan where security footage is going to be released where it's showing that he really wanted to do the right thing? He'll look like a noble politician that's going to sacrifice himself for the good of the country. And I don't know if maybe I've just been gaslit by Paul, thinking that Serge is a bad bloke when he isn't. I mean, is he just an unreliable narrator? So then Serge says he has to take a call. He's on his way to a meeting. Claire orders an espresso, which is, just one of those crazy things that people do at dinner. Just a pure shot of adrenaline just before bed. Like, why do we do that? Why do we get coffee after dinner? It's mental. And then Claire keeps asking Babette the time. She asks her the time over and over again. She's being sneaky. Saying, something's going down. In the next chapter, Paul thinks back to a time when his son was writing a school report, and it's an essay on the death penalty in America. He's got some pretty mental ideas about it, as you might assume. Paul is brought in to speak with his son's principal about it, who kind of confronts him and says, I don't think this is as good as you think it is. Your son is saying some things which are fully deranged. Paul thinks that the principal is an idiot. Look, like most insane people, he thinks that everyone is beneath him. Nobody can measure up to his level of intellect. The tension between them keeps building and building. And the whole time I'm reading this, I start getting nervous, It's like, just stop. Just stop. You don't know what this man is capable of. You don't know what thoughts are going through his head. Just bring it down. You're alone in a room with this man. You're in danger. Why is he playing with fire? He pushes a bit too far, and Paul physically attacks him, breaks his nose, breaks his teeth. He really messes this bloke up. How is he not in prison, by the way? Also, how is his past not being brought up constantly by Serge's political opponents? It would, wouldn't it? You'd be saying, look at what family this guy comes from. Even if it's not relevant, that's the sort of thing that a political opponent would bring up, isn't it? And again, I'm starting to wonder, is Paul just an unreliable narrator? I mean, his perspective on life is bizarre, and definitely his opinions on the world and the people in it are wrong. But is he also lying about some of the events that happened in his life? Because he would be in prison. Serge and Babette both leave the restaurant. Then Claire leans forward and lets Paul in on her plan. She's called Michelle and she's told him that he needs to take care of Beau. She knows that Beau's trying to blackmail their son. She also wants Paul to take care of Serge. Like, she's gone fully Al Capone, mate. This family is full of lunatics. He admits that he hasn't been taking his medication, and she says, "Yeah, I noticed that when you smashed up your desk by kicking it. I love it when you do that." She goes, "That's the man I fell in love with." And it just goes to show, there's someone out there for everyone. And in the end, actually, surprisingly, Paul says, "Look, I am a nutter. I'm clinically unwell. I'm off my meds. And if I start beating up my brother, I might never stop." Claire leaves a little while later, clearly disappointed that Paul doesn't want to cripple his brother. And then Paul hears sirens. And he runs outside. He sees a stretcher with Babette crying beside it. And then Claire is in cuffs and she's being placed into a cop car. So then Paul goes home, and there's this really eerie moment when he's listening to a voicemail that his wife left on the machine, when she pretended to be speaking with Michelle so that he had an alibi for taking care of Beau. Yeah, man, just a bad family. And then we find out that Serge lost the election due to his scars, which is just so depressing. You could just see that happening, can't you, in real life? So yeah, downer ending, bad guys win, and then, Beau's obviously dead. Michelle took a step forward and threw his arms around me and hugged. "Dear old dad," he said. Listen, it's a downer ending. It was a gut punch, but it was good. I liked it. I liked the book. I thought it was a good book. I didn't like it, really any of the characters. Well, actually, by the end, I did like Serge and Babette. I think that throughout the whole book, Paul was an unreliable narrator and he completely misrepresented what Serge was all about. Turns out Serge was actually a really good guy, one of the most unforgivable sins of any politician. So, yeah, it was good. It was not always enjoyable, especially in some of the grittier parts where you find out some of the things that have happened. But it was good. It was good. And books don't always have to be pleasant for you to enjoy them. In fact, some of the best ones rarely are. That'll be the question of the video, actually. Did the ending ruin it for you, or did it make it for you? You know, I'm sure that's one of the reasons that it's very popular, is that it had an unexpected ending and a lot of twists and a lot of turns. Tell me what you thought of the book, and specifically what impact the ending had on you. I hope that you'll like and subscribe to this channel, and this is the first book that I ever reviewed, so let me know if I did a good job. Do you want the videos to be shorter? Do you want the reviews to be longer? How do you feel about the format, you know, breaking it down, diving deep into the chapters with spoilers? You know, how was it? Did you like it? Thanks so much for joining me, and I love you. I need to get better at ending videos.